Hi everyone, and welcome back to the Charley's Journey YouTube channel. I'm Charley, and if you are new here, I make videos about my healing journey from being in a high control religion. If you're a returning subscriber, thank you as always for tuning in and your support. You know how much it means to me, so thank you so much. Without further ado, we're going to get straight into it. Today is the 5th video in my Undoing Indoctrination series. I'm going to be talking about judgmental people. And I feel I was an extremely judgmental person before I left the Jehovah's Witness organization. And I feel that I am far less judgmental. Again, something I have to work on, because 30 years almost of indoctrination versus only almost 4 years of coming out of that. It takes time. It's going to take time. But I feel like I'm getting there. So when I was Jehovah's Witness, we're taught to preach that we are not judgmental. We don't judge anybody. It's not our place to. Only Jehovah or Jesus can judge, or Jehovah. Maybe just Jehovah. I don't even know if Jesus can judge. No, Jesus and Jehovah can judge. However, ironically, even though we don't judge, there's a whole judicial system set up when you're part of the organization to deal with you when you have done something that they deem to be incorrect, sinful, or worthy of judgment. They then judge you. And as I said, it's actually called a judicial committee meeting that you will have, where you are judged by 3 overseers of the congregation, judged on whatever it is they deem that you've done wrong. We need to make that make sense. We're not judgmental, but we're going to judge you for what you've done. And on that note, what's annoying is they can get it wrong. They can discipline somebody who has been lied upon. So for instance, I've gone in there because somebody has accused me of something that I haven't done, but they may not like me for whatever reason, and therefore they believe the person that's accused me of whatever it is, and then I'm judged, but I've done nothing. And conversely, there's been people that I knew of in the past who got away with murder, not murder, actual murder, but you know what I mean, got away with some quite serious sins, willful sin that they knew they were doing wrong, went in there to their judicial committee, sobbed, cried, did whatever they needed to do, said whatever they needed to say, and were deemed as repentant and sorry, and they weren't sorry, and they got away with it. So clearly their judgment as overseers of the congregation can be incorrect, and that's okay if what they're judging you on is something rather minor. But if it's something very serious that they let you get away with, what can I say? I noticed that there was sometimes an us and them mentality growing up, because people within the congregation were judged based on what you could see from the outside. So again, if you weren't behaving, dressing, speaking, acting essentially in a way that they deemed to be spiritual, you could be judged as somebody that's not spiritual and be spoken of in a not very nice light, because from the outside appearance you're not a spiritual person. For instance, if you're late to the meetings consistently, if you dress in a way that they deem not to be that appropriate, if you're not out on the ministry, you know, I can list so many things. You can be judged for that. Conversely, you can be going out, you know, preaching constantly, answering up at all the meetings, in attendance at all the meetings, dressed completely the way that you need to be, and you're deemed as spiritual. So I didn't like that us and them judgment, because leading on to my next point, I judged people based on those very same things, how people appeared on the outside and what their actions supposedly told me about their level of spirituality. And you know the amount of times I was proved wrong when I got to know certain things about the person, or got to know the person on a deeper level. Do you know how many times I was wrong about their level of spirituality? Yeah. That always stayed with me when I got it wrong. I think, oh, that person's not very spiritual at all. Or that person's very spiritual, only for them to open their mouth and tell me what they do in their spare time, and for me to be blown away and think, oh my God, I judged you wrong. You're not spiritual at all. So yeah, that was a lesson for me. And the last one is they judge other people outside of the organisation. They say that they don't, and they say that they preach to all, and they do preach to all, but they still judge. They judge people's lifestyle choices, again, people's attitudes, the way they may dress, and what religion they might be part of. So although they do speak to people of all religions, they've already got judgments in their heads about the religion you're part of, because it's not the Jehovah's Witness organisation. Anybody that worships but is not a Jehovah's Witness, could be Muslim, you could be Catholic, you could be Hindu, Sikh, whatever, it doesn't matter that you have a faith in God, it's not the right one according to them. So they say they don't judge, but there's a lot of judgment there. There's a lot of judgment there. And coming out of the organisation, I had to do some real work, because I saw in what areas of my life I was a judgmental person. I would never have deemed myself that, but coming out of all of that and living my, having my freedom, having my own mind to think how I want to think and believe what I want to believe, I really did see that I had a lot of prejudgments, prejudices, and things that I needed to undo. So one way that I helped myself in this area was I would watch and listen to, basically expose myself to things that I used to judge. And I don't want to go into specifics, because that's, again, that will start probably a whole new conversation. But the things that I judged or made me feel uncomfortable, or that I had wrongly prejudged, I learned more. I wanted to have a full picture of something before I judged it. And oftentimes I noticed that I didn't. Before, in my old life, I didn't have access to all the facts. And I guess sometimes in life you won't have access to all the facts, of course, but do you know what I mean? Have access to more facts than I did before I judged. So I wanted to be somebody who was no longer ignorant, just saying, oh, I don't agree with this, or I don't like this, just because. I wanted to have a look at it and then see, do I believe this? Do I not? So I'd say the biggest thing I had to do was just educate myself, spend time with certain people that maybe I wouldn't have spent time with before, and just leave my mind open to exposing myself to things that I wouldn't have before. And I think one of the other major things that helped me in this area was recognizing that once I had left the organisation, I experienced the biggest judgment I had in my entire life, which was because I was no longer a Jehovah's Witness, I was now judged as somebody that was not worthy of having contact with her family and friends and everybody she'd grown up with her entire life, who feel that shunning me because we no longer share the same belief, and judging me for that, the fact that I've chosen to step away for my own personal reasons, the fact that I've been judged so wrongly, and I've done nothing except I don't share the same beliefs anymore. that's been the biggest lesson, and I wouldn't want to make anybody else feel judged like that ever again. So I think that's one of the biggest things that I've had that has helped me to be less judgmental, is remembering I've been judged, severely judged, because of the decision I took to leave the organisation. Therefore, I wouldn't, as I said, want to ever do that to anybody else. So I strive to be a less ignorant, more tolerant, more understanding, more loving person, and I definitely feel that that is the case for me now. And as the years are going on and on, I can see that more and more. So yeah, that's what I had to do. So if you found this video of help, guys, please share it with somebody who it might help, or like the video, comment. I leave my email in the description of all my videos, so please reach out. I do answer all my emails, and I just love interacting with all of you, so please feel free to do that. I upload every Wednesday and Sunday, so I will see you on my next video.